Hello, hello, hello. It's Monday. It's Moisture Monday. I'm just kidding. I got that word out of a conversation going on Facebook. The word moist came up. Some people don't like that word. Why don't I like that word? Moist. Welcome to Monday. How are you? I hope your weekend was good. My little impromptu video went out on the Sunday. I don't know if you caught that. That was fun. It was a nicer day on Sunday than it was the last weekend because I got rained on. Today, it's a little bit windy, but the wind's coming out of the south, so that's weird. It's usually behind me. Now it's in front of me. Does that give away which way I'm walking? My directions? So what is going on today? What am I going to talk about today? Today, let's talk about society and culture and how things have shifted in the last 20 years. More to the point, I want to talk about the idea that, coupled with the fact that we have a virus and a pandemic going around, who knows where it came from. Speculations are it leaked from a lab in China that they were studying the viral infection rates and yada, yada, yada. And that's my story. I think that it did leak from a lab. It's too coincidental not to. All the professionals say that it's too modified to have been naturally occurring. So anyways, they made a mistake. We all paid for it. They're rushing to get a vaccine out to help mitigate the losses in life and panic. So be it. Okay, so let's cycle back. Let's go to society. I'm going to touch on the idea of two of my favorite thinkers. One of them in particular, Nietzsche, who is more or less famous for being the guy that's coined the what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And Darwin, who says the strongest survive, or the most adaptable survive in nature. Okay, so here we are in society with a virus that's highly infectious, but not quite lethal on a scale of like the Spanish flu. We look up the percentages of Spanish flu or the plague, bubonic plague. This virus is very, very, very low lethal rate. It's a very, very small percentage, but media has decided to make it a scary topic. Why? Could be something else going on. Who knows? I have no idea. Anyways, it's the wrong direction. Save that one for tomorrow. So what I wanted to talk about with society and culture is the idea that if you don't get hurt, you don't get stronger. Topic came up today about a sense of humor. Well, where the lines of humor are drawn and where the lines of insults are drawn. There are movies throughout our recent history, like Ace Ventura, for instance. Let's talk about Ace Ventura, where at the end of Ace Ventura, if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, go see it. Too bad if you haven't. The premise of the movie is that a lost hitchhiker takes on the identity of a man, or a man takes on the identity of a missing hitchhiker and becomes a woman throughout the movie, plotting to take revenge against an old football whatever. So they get to the end. Ace Ventura turns this lady, I guess, person, turns this human being around to show a set of balls and dicks stuffed in their pants. The reaction to which is all the males probably made out with this woman throughout at some point. And they all start gagging and brushing their tongues and throwing up because it's, okay, so one, it's a reaction of homophobia because they realize it's a dude. I can't believe I made out with a dude, which is homophobia. And then it's also like this new idea of trans shaming or whatever. Okay, so that's Ace Ventura. Ace Ventura was hilarious at the time. And I don't think anybody pardon me, I don't think anybody batted an eye. I'm not really too sure. I mean, maybe gay, lesbian, trans, something, I don't know. I just don't remember anything being brought up about it. Maybe somebody can correct me that there was ever an issue about that. But movies like Naked Gun and skits in SNL and all kinds of humor. Humor was based on the idea that you realized it was a joke or a premise or an idea. It's a theme on top of reality is what it is. It's like a blanket or sunscreen or an umbrella. Humor is like this layer on top of reality where, if played properly, and some senses of humor, if you laugh at something, sometimes you just laugh uncontrollably because the themes presented are funny. That's the way it was. Now it seems like you have to protect everybody from these layers. Why? It's not that they're false. They were always false. But why protect people now? If you can't endure certain social things and cues and can't be taught, I mean, what's wrong with education? What happened to the idea that we're learning humor? Where are our educators? Where are the role models? Where are these lines of, like, say if you have a blanket, someone taught you how to fold a blanket. I mean, except for fitted sheets, nobody knows what the fuck's up with fitted sheets. I think they were delivered here by aliens. Nobody can fold those. Prove me wrong. Okay, fitted sheets aside, the idea that we forgot or abandoned or allowed certain numbers of people, like, this is like a democracy, right? The biggest group or the most numbers in a group get to say what's what. That's how governments work. Watch me roll my eyes. It's not how it works. But now it's like, because of media involvement and pressures of numbers and like market threatening, because that's what it is, you know. The idea that people are gonna say, if, I don't know who it is, whomever, Louis C.K. did something that was inappropriate, it was taken out of context, it was removed, it was outside of the room they were in, it went to more people, and the more people got involved, the more outcry happened. And then it's like, oh, if this 1.5 million people decide not to subscribe to HBO is a problem. HBO then goes to the person or whatever and says, we renounce your involvement. We need to stand on this virtuous platform in order to retain our customers. So you see how it works? If it wasn't for this whole customer basis and losing money, and it's a very, very sad change in society, because it's like, okay, so here's my perspective on it. I value the idea of respect. I want to treat people fairly, reasonably, intellectually, factually, with an element of truth and integrity. All of those things are valid. Okay. So the way that we're dancing around these issues now, what is the goal? What are these methods supposed to bring about? See, this is the thing. Like, I get being able to dance from one foot to the next. Like, if it's too hot, you move. And then if it's too hot over there, you move again. But it's not okay to just be dancing around and not knowing where you're going. It's not just this now, because of the internet, is the whole world. We're all watching. We're all part of it. We're all subject to the same types of strong arm maneuvers. We all have to play by these new social, economic attention rules, because you get judged in society, and then all of a sudden you're on the low point. So comedy and humor is supposed to be this layer that's on top of that. It's an area where these public speaking figures, many of which I love and adore them, Dave Chappelle, Joe Rogan, Louis C.K. was hilarious. And these guys were our like unsung heroes in society, because they tell it the way it is. They were out there looking at the world, giving us a perspective on social commentary and situations, and they were able to push the limits. But we always knew it was a joke. I mean, look at Richard Pryor, Andrew Dice Clay, Eddie Murphy. It's like it's like this idea of comedy and humor goes back quite a ways. But there was always like this education that came along with it. You knew it was a joke. So when did it go from joking to serious? Something to think about. Why is the news out here? So this is what I was talking with my buddies at work just a minute ago. You guessed it. It's not undisclosed anymore. If you know basically where I'm at, then you know where I'm at. I don't care. See where I'm at? You could look it up on Google Maps. Anyways, so the whole idea is that we need to have an educated system that allows, come back and focus, there. An educated system that helps society, youth deal with what they're going through. And there was something that came up in a post recently. I said, it's okay. I accept, I'm not going to say it's okay, that's a little bit far for this standpoint, but I accept that somebody feels a certain way. I felt all kinds of ways. And I said to someone recently, I'd be like, listen, if cross-dressing was any sign of someone being on a spectrum, then Dee Snider and Steven Tyler would definitely be trans. But we, like, no big deal. 80s hair metal. I mean, does it ring a bell? We need to just put things back into perspective. The fact that there was a large number on board, like let's not forget that Copernicus and all of these theories of the solar system and all of that flat Earth, just because there's a lot of numbers doesn't make you right. That's not how it works. That's how politics works. That's not how truth and facts work. We need to get off that. There's a big difference. I respect the fact that somebody has an opinion, but that doesn't mean it's the truth. It doesn't mean it's fact. Truth and fact also have different subcategories of validity. Truth can be what people think, the majority. That's what the truth used to be this or whatever. You need to get it, see, this is where the education comes in. And to let it go unchecked, unhelped, unfiltered, just puts us all in a really weird, shitty waste of time sort of position, just dancing around foot to foot. It doesn't make any sense. You have to project, where is it going? What do these behaviors bring to society? Where are we heading with this? What's our direction? What's our directive with these protocols? The same with the virus, for instance. I mean, we have vaccines and we're trying to help people get better, and we're doing the sciences and business or whatever you want to call it are generating these vaccines. They were rushed out. They weren't tested. I mean, look it up. Look up normal vaccine processes and then look up what happened to this one. Just to know, this is the education part. So this is what I feel like is going on with society is we've all been led astray. We've all just been allowed to dance, and for the sake of dancing, it comes with stuff like financial troubles, business and marketing issues. Like, you're being lied to and manipulated by a lot of stuff. Don't even kid yourself. Like, that's the way it is. I've been doing a little bit of research in marketing and wording and stuff like that. That's, I studied philosophy in school and psychology, and it's just a matter of how you look at it. And if you look at it from on the inside and you're constantly bombarded with talk of this and that and being convinced that this is a certain way and the numbers are overwhelming and you're not accepted if you don't, you get put on the outside and you get judged if you don't jump in, It's like all like peer pressuring and bullying, and like, you know, a sleight of hand magician can fool you that something has happened when it hasn't. You don't get time to actually look at it. It's a mess. It's a mess. And to go back to the point, is like you need to be able to educate what it's like being hurt, being insulted, being spoken to from an early age, to understand that that's the way you build self-esteem. If you're not able to think with proper healthy coping mechanisms, then you're going to get manipulated, you're going to get bullied, you're going to get put down. And it's not that, yes, maybe some of these things don't need to happen, but again, it goes back to education. The education of like families where people came from rough backgrounds, they're dealing with a lot of stuff. The people that are hurt usually try to hurt people. And that's where it's coming from. And if you tell kids that, if you explain that maybe their household or their parents or someone that they're, you know what I mean? That, and I respect the fact that it could all change. We could all move to a better place. People will be less hurt. People will have more help. You'll have less like abusive people, toxic people, but you still have mental illnesses. You still have these things that need to be detected. It's a matter of expanding the conversation instead of shutting down the avenue to learn something. You can't silence people and expect to get better. It's not the way it works. You have to be able to open up the dialogue. You have to be able to tell people, say, this is what's going on. These are the factors that are involved. If this happens, if this is what it sounds like, this is what's going on in the background. Educate people, open the conversation, accept a different perspective, and then maybe this stuff will just wash away. But you can't silence it. That's not the right way to do it. The right way to do it is to understand more, not to just get into tribe A or tribe B, and it's like us versus them, red versus blue. Like the only red versus blue that I like is the Halo cartoons. Halo cartoons were awesome. So like, we need to get back to like putting comedy back in a layer and understand what's going on. It's making fun of something. Like punny jokes, we understand almost right away. It's not personal at all. It's not about any person. It's not about these factors. It's just about wordplay and being used in a silly way or a different way or some way that we didn't expect. You know, like we just have to educate more and get back to understanding rather than just everything being sensitive and knee-jerk reactions without any sort of substance. It's the equivalent of being shallow and judging people on their looks or their skin, but in a humor way. You're just being shallow. That's all it is. You just look at everything on the surface and go, oh, I don't like that. Just, you know, depth, for God's sakes, please. Expand the idea that we have a depth to reach with people and we can get there all together. I like the idea of improving the conversation to understand what's going on and then move from there. So we have less hurt people, less mechanisms that call for harm or abuse or toxicity. We don't need toxic people. We don't need bullies. We don't need this type of mechanism in society that hurt people. We can eliminate that, but it's going to require some education. We can't just let the media and mass marketing and all this, they're the ones causing all of the ruckus. I mean, does anybody remember Pepsi versus Coke? It's all tribalism. It's all us versus them. The whole thing is based on divide and conquer, and then they want to turn around and say, oh, you all need to get along. Why? Because it disrupts your bottom line? Oh, it's so confusing. If you look back at it far enough, you'll see what I'm talking about. And I hope that this message gets to you and you understand where I'm coming from. It's not just that it frustrates me, but I know that it hurts a lot of people, and we don't need people being hurt. We need to heal people and we need to educate people. That's what I'm on about. So anyways, I will check you guys tomorrow. It's been a long Monday, to be honest. This is crazy. So this is a long video too. I respect you guys hanging around. Let me know what you think in the comments and share the video if you think that anybody else could benefit from what's being said. I mean, I haven't studied a lot. I'm not a scholar for it. I mean, having a degree in university doesn't make me that educated. And this is my opinion and perspective on things. It doesn't mean that what I'm saying is fact. You can look it up. Fact check me. check my attitude, check my perspective. If I've said something that's a little off, give me some depth. Really, I'm open for it. But for now, I'm out of here. I'm going to catch a bus. I'm going to go close my eyes and go to sleep. Yep. All right. See you guys next time. Laters.